we're taking you down in the Syndicate mine here in Springhill, Nova Scotia. This mine was closed in the late 1800s because of a massive fire.
Now, working in a mine is dangerous at the best of times. When this place reopened in the 1960s, 3 people were killed just from minor accidents.
Springhill was founded in 1790. Almost from the beginning, it was a mining town, a coal town. In the early days, it was the only significant source of income.
So this here is a model of the big industry mines that we had here in Springhill.
Okay.
All of this was located at the bottom end of Main Street where our industrial park sits today. It's where the number 2 and number 4 mines were.
All right. How many mines were there in total?
There was 7 in total.
Now this place is a testament to the size and the scale of the operation. I can literally go anywhere, stop, pick up a handful of coal.
In fact, this whole road I'm walking on is all coal dust. And pretty well, this whole field is coal. The grass is growing up through it. It's just everywhere.
They varied in depth. The number 2 was the deepest mine in the world at the time, in the 50s. It went into the earth close to 16,000 feet. And that wasn't straight down, that was in at about a 35-degree slope. But vertically, it was almost 2 miles deep. They were lowered down in cars, and it took the better part of an hour to get down. They were called rakes. And you'd sit in them, you'd had to bend over most of the way down with your nose almost touching your knees. You kept your elbows tucked in.
Wow.
And that's how you're lowered down.
So Jock cries at night.
Springhill was victim to 3 mining disasters. The first and most deadly was the fire of 1891, killing 125 miners, some of them just kids, as young as 10 years old. Sadly, 2 other mining disasters would follow in the 1950s.
The number 4 mine had the major explosion in 1956. That was caused by coal dust. Every once in a while they had to clean the coal dust out of the mines, and they were hauling it out to the surface in a train of cars. And as those cars were going up the tracks, a gust of air from the fan shaft blew through and blew a lot of that dust out of the cars and filled the air of the mine shaft. The back cars broke free, they came back down the tracks, they derailed, they flipped end over end, and they cut a 2200 volt wire that was on the ceiling of the mine.
Wow.
That ignited some methane gas, and the methane lit up the coal dust, which exploded. Some of those guys were down there for 3.5 days before they were rescued, and 39 men lost their lives to the explosion. So the number 2 mine, it was the mine that had the bump in October of '58. A bump is underground seismic activity. It's caused by the removal of the coal and a change in the pressure on the strata that surrounds the coal. It's an upheaval in the earth. The floor actually slammed up into the ceiling of the mine, and it caused major destruction and cave-ins all throughout the mine. And it trapped 174 men underground. Some of those guys were underground for 8.5 days before they were rescued.
8:06 p.m. There's a bump here that could be felt for miles. 174 men were in that mine.
How many were rescued and how many didn't make it?
75 men lost their lives to the bump, and 99 men were brought out of the mine that day.
This was a rallying point for rescue workers and loved ones because when the town felt the bump, they knew something had gone drastically wrong.
The third and final Springhill mining disaster left the community devastated. Today, it's not the mining town it used to be, but at heart, it's still a mining town.
If you didn't know what happened here, this would look like an average field. But if you look closer, you'll be able to find old pieces of brick from buildings and hunks of steel. Because right here, number 2 and number 4 colliery were once located.
This place would have been a hive of activity with buildings everywhere, miners punching in and punching out, tons and tons of coal being hauled up out of the ground because this was the world's largest coal mine at its time. They even say there are more tunnels underground than there are roads in Springhill.
Those are actual miner tag numbers of fellows that were involved in the bump. And if we make it, when we make it back out of the mine, you're gonna bring them over to me and I'm gonna tell you who you were and what your job was in the mine and what happened to you in the bump. Put these on.
Thanks.
Now we're heading underground 16,000 feet.
We're only going 300, Luke.
We'll go a little bit further here.
All right. Still ducking instead of getting lower.
So this here's more realistic to what size of a working level would be. You'd be working in here on your knees for an entire shift, always swinging your pick from your side. When it came time to shovel it up into a car or onto a vibrating pan line, you would lay down on your side almost and shovel it up.
Really?
A lot of times working in puddles of water. The batteries they were using in the 50s, they were notorious for leaking, so a lot of guys would get bad burns on them. Can you imagine just working in an area that tight? Okay, you look ready to work?
I'm ready to smash some coal.
All right, let's go down.
Left or straight?
Keep going straight.
Ah,
Wow.
how's that taste?
Oh, it shatters back in your face.
Yeah, those guys certainly had talent, because usually that's all I get too, is coal dust in the face.
This is definitely not an easy way of life. It's cold, it's dark, there's no natural light. It's cramped, you're bent over, it's uncomfortable, and you're swinging a pickaxe for 8 hours a day, just chiseling out these little tunnels and these pathways. It wouldn't take long to realize that it's not cool down here. It's really heart-wrenching.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine in 1958, you're just working down here, and all of a sudden the floor hits the ceiling, and in a moment it's over. Now, if you heard the bump, you lived through it.
Okay, let's find out who yous were. Okay, you were Bliss Bourgeois. You were killed in a 1958 bomb. You were a miner. You were 49 years old, and you were already widowed with 2 grown children. Oh, Luke, you were lucky. You were only trapped for 8.5 days. You were Herb Pepperdine.
Okay.
He still resides here in Springhill.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he was trapped for 8.5 days. He also came back to work out here during the 1960s and worked here for 10 years.
So I am a brave fella.
I'd say you were awful brave to be able to come back to work out here.